This conference will now be recorded.
Uh, Hello and welcome everyone. Uh, Today's our learning outcomes 2, and my name is Yasir Galfraz, and I'm your tutor for today's session, which is understanding strategic capacity planning for products and services. So, can you see my screen and can you hear me? Any issue?
Yes.
Okay. So, today we will start with what is capacity planning and why is capacity planning is important. So capacity planning is basically the process of determining the production capacity required by an organization to meet the changing uh, demands for its products. In simpler terms, it is about figuring out how much a company needs to produce and satisfy customer needs. Uh, why is capacity planning is important? There are several reasons to consider. First of all, capacity planning helps control the rate of output for your business. By understanding the capacity needed to meet demand, you can ensure that you are not overproducing or underproducing, thus optimizing efficiency. The second thing is uh, capacity planning tools assist in determining operating cost, supply and demand dynamics, and even future investment decisions for business. By having a clear understanding of your business, by having of clear understanding of your capacity requirement, you can make informed decision about resources allocation, expansion plans, and potential area of improvement. So next is, what is the ultimate goal of project manager? So primary objective of project manager is to successfully deliver their projects. In order to achieve the goals, project manager must effectively plan, organize, and coordinate various resources and activities. Uh, Concept of capacity planning, which is often associated with supply and demand in product-based industries. However, it is important to note that capacity planning is equally applicable to service industries and play a critical role in project management. So, at project level, capacity planning revolves around assessing whether there are sufficient resources available to complete a given project. To calculate your team's capacity, you need to consider two key factors: their availability and their current workload. Availability refers to the amount of time and uh, effort team members can dedicate to the project. So, this takes into account their existing commitments, such as other projects or responsibilities within the organizations. Uh, by understanding their availability, project managers can allocate resources effectively and ensure that the project requirements are met. So, the second thing is current workload involves assessing the task responsibilities team members are already engaged in. So, by considering both availability and workload, project managers can make informed decisions about resource allocation, ensuring that the right people are assigned to the right task at the right time. So, this help optimize productivity, minimize uh, and enhance the chance of project success. What is the difference between capacity planning and resource planning? So here we will discussing the distinction between capacity planning and resource planning. So capacity planning requires you to make sure you have sufficient resources to deliver your project. As such, it contains an element of prediction. And resource planning is more about coordinating the workforce in real time. You are assigning people to project while monitoring resource utilizing. Uh, Capacity planning involves evaluating and forecasting the resources needed to successfully execute a project or meet operational demands. Uh, it focus on determining whether the available resources such as manpower, equipment, and infrastructures are sufficient to handle the workload. Capacity planning requires a predictive element, is it involves estimating future requirements based on um, historical data, growth projections, and other relevant factors. In other hand, resource planning is more concerned with the real-time coordination of the workforce. It involves the allocation of individuals of specific projects or tasks while closely monitoring resource utilizations. Resource planning resolve around managing the available pool of human resource efficiently, ensuring that they are optimally assigned to project based on their skills, expertise, and availability. So it requires constant monitoring and adjustment to ensure that resources are allocated effectively as project requirements evolve. Can you see my screen and hear me as well?
Yes.
Okay. Critically assess the importance of capacity planning. So, capacity planning is a fundamental aspect of business management that enables company to determine whether they have the necessary resources and capabilities to meet current and future demands. It plays a crucial role in ensuring operational efficiency and successful project completion. So first and foremost, capacity planning allows you to assess your company uh, ability to handle the workload by understanding the time it takes for your employees to perform specific tasks. You gain insight into overall capacity of your workforce. For service-based business, it is essential to consider the number of projects each employee can handle, uh, s- maintaining reasonable timelines for service completion. So this knowledge helps you determine if your organization can take on additional projects without overburdening your employees or compromising the quality of deliverables. Uh, Also, capacity planning also provide valuable insight for making informed decisions regarding business expansions by understanding the typical timeframes required for various tasks. So you can evaluate whether your current capacity can support an increase in work volume or if expansion is necessary. So this assessment is crucial when considering the potential to serve more clients or produce a higher number of items. Proper capacity planning empowers you to gauge the feasibility and cost effectiveness of silent up your operations. Consider employee skills. Next one. Some employees are better at certain tasks than a team. Make sure your captains are good at identifying those skills and employ these skills when completing a project. In a marketing project, you want to designers producing eye-catching graphics and the writers providing snappy slogans. So, example of a marketing project in this scenario, it is essential to capitalize on the diverse skill within the team. Designers who possess a keen eye for aesthetics should focus on creating eye-catching graphics. So that will captivate the audience. On the other hand, writers should be responsible for crafting snappy and attention-grabbing slogans that effectively convey the brand's message uh, by leveraging the skills of each team member. So the marketing project can truly flourish. Similarly, in a production environment, it is crucial to have employees who are adequately trained and possess the necessary skills for their specific roles. Consider a retail setting, for instance, the employee who excels at swiftly stocking shelves may not necessarily possess the same proficiency when it comes to operating the cash register and vice versa. By recognizing these distinctions, team leaders can optimize efficiency by assigning tasks to the most suitable employees. So this not only enhance productivity but also ensure a positive customer experience. Calculate accurate workload. Determine kind of workload your team can handle once you have assessed everyone's strengths and weaknesses. So consider how long it takes the team to handle each process. So basically, he's talking about assessing strength and weaknesses. Each team member possess unique skills and abilities that contribute the overall productivity of the team. By understanding these strengths and weaknesses, uh, we can assign tasks more effectively, ensuring that everyone is working on activities. Anyone is the okay? So,
Yes.
sorry. uh, Ensuring that everyone is working on activities that align with their capabilities. This not only increase efficiency but also boosts morale within the team. Oh, sorry. However, it is important to remember that tasks that requires intense efforts and quick turnaround time cannot be sustained on a regular basis. Such product can lead to burnout, the decreased productivity. So, therefore, it is crucial to strike a balance between challenging assignments and manageable workloads to maintain the well-being and motivations of your team members. Uh, let's discuss long-term projects when considering taking on a new client, developing new products, or expanding current services. It is vital to evaluate your firm's capacity to successfully execute these initiatives, assess your team expertise, available resources, workload capacity. So, if the workload exceeds your team's capabilities, you may need to consider alternative strengths such as outsourcing, hiring additional staff, or extending project timelines. So this evaluations ensures that your team can deliver high quality work without compromising their well-being. Strategies to use. So what happen if you have more projects or products to make that resources? Uh, oh, sorry. Uh, Resources. What happen if you have more staff than projects or products to make? These are called gaps, and this is why there is a need for capacity planning. So he is discussing an important aspect of project and resource management, capacity planning in the dynamic business environment. It is not uncommon to encounter situation where there are either more project to products to make than available resources, or conversely, more staff than projects or products to handle these gaps in capacity can have significant implications for the success of your project or your organizations. So, therefore, it is very essential to develop strategies to address these gaps when they occur. So, to begin with, let's explore that happens when you have more projects or products to make them available resources. This situation can lead to resources constraints, delays, and potential bottlenecks in your operations. To effectively deal with the gap, it is crucial to engage in proactive capacity planning. This planning process involves creating a specific plan tailored to each type of gap you encounter. Chart the future. When you implement capacity planning in operations management, you are trying to predict the future. Use project management charts to illustrate what your options are. Actually filling out these charts will tells you where you are. So project management chart can help us predict the future and make informed decisions. By accurately filling out these charts, we can gain valuable insights into our current positions and determine our options moving forward. So let's dive into it. Capacity planning is the process of estimating the amount of work that can be accomplished within a given time frame. It involves assessing the available resources, analyzing historical data, and making projections about future demands. By effectively implementing capacity planning, we can ensure that our operations run smoothly, optimize resource utilization, and make informed decisions about taking on new projects and or adjusting our current workload. And same time, by utilizing the project management chart and accurately filling them out, we can gain a comprehensive understanding of our current operational state. We can identify inefficiencies, potential bottlenecks, and opportunities for improvement. These charts provide us with visual representations of our project, allowing us to make data-driven decisions about capacity planning. So, anything so far, Ras?
Clear.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Clear.
Okay. Uh, Need for capacity planning. Uh, Many businesses underestimate the significance of capacity planning, but failing to implement it can have serve consequences. So, uh, staff who put an extra hours to complete a project will need a break before turning the next projects, one which will hopefully not drive them to exhaustion. So, just imagine what can happen if you don't capacity planning. So, you may need a buy equipment. You might find yourself with overused equipment or overworked staff. This can result in equipment breakdowns and exhausted employees who desperately need a break. So, asking your staff to put in extra hours to complete a project without adequate rest can lead to a decreased morale and a decline in job performance. Your staff may suffer from low morale. This will make them less likely to do a good job. So this is not only demotivating, but it can also have a negative impact on the overall quality of work. Furthermore, insufficient capacity planning may force you to buy equipment prematurely. If you invest in equipment before you are truly ready, it can be wasteful and financially burdensome. Overused equipment is prone to breakdowns, resulting in unexpected costs for repair or replacement. Inadequate planning can lead to shortage of staff uh, during critical project phase. If employees become overwhelmed or burnt out due to lack of proper scheduling and workload distributions, they may decide to quit. Uh, Moreover, consider the consequences of not meeting client expectations. If you fail to deliver project of sufficient quality or within the agreed time frame, you risk damaging your reputation. Negative word of mouth can spread quickly, uh, potentially leading to the loss of both current and potential clients. So this can be significant setback for your business growth and sustainability. Another aspect of consider is the financial aspect. uh, Impact. Without proper capacity planning, you may have to redo project or manufacture new products to meet client expectations. These unexpected costs were likely not included in your budget forecast, putting a strain on your finance and potentially affecting your profitability. Next one, analyze ways of defining and measuring capacity. What is capacity? Volume of production an organization is capable of usually defined according to a given time period. The nation of capacity is determined by many factors. For example, size of labor force, equipment, products, productions, etc. So capacity is defined under three categories: design capacity, effective capacity, and actual capacity. So the operations utilization of resources and the efficiency of its process can be calculated uh, using these. Uh, Design capacity represent the maximum output an organizations can achieve under ideal conditions. It assumes that all resources are available and functioning at their full potential. Design capacity provide a benchmark for evaluating the overall capabilities of an organization or any organization. Uh, then it comes to effective capacity. Effective capacity, uh, on the other hand, takes into account factors that may affect production, such as scheduled downtime for maintenance, employee breaks, and other planned interruptions. It reflects the realistic capacity that can organization can achieve considering these limitations. Effective capacity is a more practical measure of what can be accomplished. So the last one is actual capacity is the production volume that an organization achieves in reality. It considered both planned and unplanned downtime, such as equipment breakdown, supply chain disruptions, or unexpected events that impact productivity. Uh, for example, fire at your workplace. Actual capacity provides insight into the organization performance and highlights any gap between the designed and achieved capacity level. Design capacity refers to the maximum output that an operations can achieve under ideal conditions without any interruptions such as shift changes, maintenance, or other delays. It represents the highest level of production that the process is capable of achieving consistently and continuously. unlike the actual daily production, which consider real-world factors such as break, maintenance activities, and other operational limitations. Design capacity focus on what the process can achieve in a perfect scenario. It is important to note that design capacity is a theoretical number and not one that is practically applied on a daily basis. Any questions so far?
No, it's clear.
Okay, fast. Okay. Next one is effective capacity. Effective capacity refers to how an operation will function over an extended period, taking into account staffing, maintenance, and planned stoppages within the normal working time frame. It is also commonly referred to as available capacity. To better understand effective capacity, uh, let's consider as an example. Let's say if you are managing a manufacturing plant that produces wedges, you have a team of workers, machinery, and various operational factors that impact production's effective capacity. Takes into account all these elements to determine the optimal output of your system. During shift change overs, for instance, there is brief period when one group of workers finishes their shift and another group takes over. So this transition time is necessary to ensure a smooth handover, but it also means that production is uh, temporarily halted. Similarly, lunch breaks allows employees to rest and recharge, but they also result in a pause in production. So by accounting for these stoppages, we can actually assess the available capacity of the operations. Actual capacity. Uh, Actual capacity refers to the total amount of work that a system or operation can handle, considering both planned and unplanned losses. Planned losses are expected and intentional factors that may reduce output, such as maintenance activities or scheduled breaks. On the other hand, unplanned losses are unforeseen events or circumstances that can hinder productivity, including poor work rate, absenteeism, or the need for new staff training. Measuring capacity. Uh, when we measuring the input is straightforward. We can use it as our unit of measures. For instance, if we have a clear understanding of the amount of raw materials, labors, or equipment required, we can use those as our input or measure capacity. There are situations where measures the input can be more complex. For instance, in a process layout where machines are utilized, it might be difficult to measure the exact machine hour. In such cases, it is more suitable to focus on the output. Instead, we can measure the output of the process and use that as our unit of measures. Then unit of time. The time scale we choose should be aligned within the operations needs. It could be uh, minutes and hours a day, uh, or even a week. The important thing is that the unit of output and the chosen time scale must be consistent with each other. This consistency ensures that our measurement accurately represent the operations capacity. Output measure of capacity. When we talk about output measure of capacity, Uh, we are essentially looking at the number of finished units that are produced by a process within a specific time frame. For example, we might consider how many mobile phones are produced in a day or how many cars are manufactured per week. These numbers give us a clear picture of the productivity and efficiency of the operation. Output measures of capacity work best in situations where there is a low variety in the product mix or limit customization. In other words, when the products being produced are similar or standardized, it becomes easier to count and measure the output. Uh, if, for example, if a factory is primarily producing a single model of mobile phone, it is straightforward to keep track of the number of units produced. Here, another example, the measure of output capacity could be cars per shift or tons per hours or customers per day. However, the capacity of a surgeon or a university professor may not be measured in this manner. In these cases, capacity could be shown in the form of working hours per week. A simple formula of capacity can be capacity is equal to time available divided by time of task. Uh, for example, a service provider works an 8 hours day, takes two 15 minutes coffee breaks, and has a half-hour lunch break. The time available for work in 7 hours per uh, worker per day. So consider this worker as if have a imagine we have a service provider who follows a regular 8 hours work day with two 15 minutes breaks and half-hour lunch break. This means the worker has 7 hours available for actual workday. But let's consider this worker as a fitness instructor. When dealing with each customer, the instructor spend total of 70 minutes. So this time includes 10 minutes for consultations and booking, as well uh, as 1 hour for the gym session itself. So to calculate the number of client the instructor can accommodate in a 5-day week, we need to determine how many clients they can handle in one day and then multiply uh, that by the number of working days. Since the workers has 7 hours available for work each day, we need to convert this to minutes by multiplying it by 60 minutes per hour. So 7 hours day multiplied by 60 minutes is equal to 420 minutes a day. 30 clients per can be expected as the capacity of the fitness operations. Here the simplified this is a simplified measure as it is presumed that the fitness instructor does not have time off, sick, or do any other activities such as maintain the gym equipment or diversify into other areas such as taking classes. Most process will not have just one activity. Many will have interlinking processes with different capacity constraints on each. Uh, Here the operational, this diagram illustrates that the output of process is limited by the slow point, which is referred to use as a bottleneck in the process here. So next one is evaluate the factors of consider when deciding whether the operation in house to outsource. Uh, Decision to outsource or self-perform work is typically made by the project team. They assess various factors or determine the a most suitable approach for the project. One of the primary consideration is the budget. Here we'll talk about together. First of one of the primary consideration is the budget. It is crucial to evaluate whether outsourcing a self-performing the work aligns with the available financial sources. And second one is project schedule plays a vital role in decision making process. Project teams need to evaluate whether outsourcing or self-performing will help meet the project deadline uh, efficiently. Timeline is often a critical factor in project success. Uh, Next one is risk is another and big factor. Uh, Both outsourcing and self-performing carry their own set of risks. The project team needs to assess the risks associated with each option and choose the one that minimize potential negative impact on the project. Uh, to quality is another factor to be considered. The project team must evaluate whether outsourcing or uh, outsourcing or self-performing will ensure the desired level of quality for the work being performed. Maintaining high standard is essential for meeting project objectives. And last is flexibility is consideration that should not be overlooked. The project team need to assess the level of flexibility required for the work. Outsourcing may provide greater flexibility in terms of resource allocation, while self-performing may offer more control and adaptability within the team. Uh, Outsourcing decisions, the outsourcing decisions in the context of a design company tasked with building a large training uh, curriculum for a company in downtown New York. So, in this scenario, the design company has the option to contract out certain aspect of the project, such as editing and graphic art work to specialized companies. These external companies have the expertise to deliver these services quickly and a lower cost than if the design company were to handle them internally. So now when it comes to outsourcing decisions, they can be quite challenging. The project manager must decide whether to outsource this part of the project or external companies or to develop the necessary capabilities within their own organization. Outsourcing has its advantages by relying on external experts. The design company can save both time and money. These specialized companies already possess the required technological expertise, which means they can complete the work more efficiently and cost effectively. But another hand, choosing to self-perform the work has its benefits too. If the project team takes on the editing and graphic art work themselves, they can develop valuable expertise in these areas. So, this required expertise would not only benefit their parent company but also lead to cost saving on future projects. Additionally, by keeping the work in house, the project management team has greater control over the entire process as it is performed by a member of their own team rather than external parties. Can you see my screen for us? And
Yeah, I can.
okay, outstanding versus self-performing. Project manager made a decision to outsource a specific portion of the work that required new methods and materials. The rationale behind this decision was that the project team design uh, carefully evaluated the work and determined that it would be more beneficial for uh, parent company to develop this new capacity within the organization. Uh, it become further analysis says it become evident that developing the capacity internally would incur additional costs and risks. The expenses associated with developing the necessary skills and resources, along with the risk of implementing a new method using existing resources, outweighed the potential benefit for the organization. On the other hand, the parent company possessed core expertise in the fundamental instructional design activities, and the project team had access to qualified resources capable of performing this work. So therefore, the decision to self-perform this specific portion of the project was straightforward. By using the existing resources, the company enjoyed advantages in terms of cost and schedule. This means that it was more economical and efficient to handle this part of the project internally rather than outstanding it to external parties. Key takeaway from, for example, uh, the factors that influence procurement are primarily cost and schedule, but also include risk, quality, and flexibility. To determine whether to outsource or do the work within the organization, consider which option is less costly and which options can deliver the work on time. Describe the steps that are used to resolve constraint issues. Uh, what are constraints? What exactly are constraints? Well, constraint refers to limitations or restrictions that can hinder or prevent certain things from happening. In project management, we commonly deal with six constraints which can help us better manage our products. So there are also three main constraints, or the triple constraint of project management. So three main constraints. First one is time constraint. Time is often considered the most critical constraint. It involves setting realistic project timelines and milestone, closely monitoring progress and ensuring timely completion. Project managers must manage time effectively by prioritizing tasks, managing dependencies, and addressing any delays promptly. Second one is scope. Scope refers to the specific objectives, deliverables, and tasks that defines the project boundaries. It is essential to clearly define the scope at the beginning and manage changes effectively. Expanding the scope may require more time and resources, while narrowing it down could lead to quicker completion and reduced costs. The last one is cost. Cost. This involves the financial aspect of a project. It relates to the budget allocated for the project and the resources required to complete it. To manage cost constraints effectively, project managers must carefully estimate and monitor expenses, ensuring they stay within the predetermined budget. Capacity constraints. In simple terms, a capacity constraint refers to resources within a process or operations that cannot increase its productivity as much as other part of the system. Uh, in manufacturing line, let's say manufacturing line with the several machine working in sequences, while most machine can process a certain number of unit per hour. there might be one machine that lags behind, unable to keep up with the same pace. This machine we call the under producing machine become a bottleneck in the process. The capacity of the entire facility is limited by the output of this machine. So if we can increase the capacity of this underperforming machine, we can also enhance the overall capacity of the entire operations. So this is because the operations will always go at the pace of the slowest part, just like a group of walkers will move at the speed of the slowest person. Uh, to improve the overall capacity, it is crucial to identify the restrictive part of the process, the machine or resource that hampers productivity by adding additional resources or finding ways to increase the efficiency of the particular machine. We can boost its capacity and subsequently improve the overall capacity of the operation. Resource mix that can be potentially constraining to an operation could include. So it's talking about various factors that can potentially restrict or limit the smooth operations of a business. These factors, known or as resource constraints, can have a significant impact on the efficiency and capacity of an organization. There are two important resources concentrate: staff skills level and IT facilities or technology. First, let's consider staff level. The availability and proficiency of employees can play a crucial role in determining the success of an operation. Staff members can be trained to enhance their skills and become more versatile in contributing to different aspects of business process. They can gain experience, they often become more efficient and quicker at their job. Next one is IT facilities or technology. This can be a small or very significant important improvement to a process. The implementation of suitable information and communication technology can revolutionize a process either in small or significant ways. Investing in the right technological tools can reduce process time, enhance accuracy, and even transform the nature of the process itself. Uh, let's take online banking as a talk as an example. By introducing online banking services, financial institutions have greatly improved efficiency and increased their capacity to serve customers. Now we'll talk about two important factors: material availability and product or service mix. Material availability, supply of raw material plays a important role in determining the capacity potential of an operation. If there is a restriction or shortage in the availability of material, it can limit the capacity of the operations. When this restriction is resolved and the materials become readily available, it can significantly improve the capacity. Next one is product or service mix. When a facility produce multiple products or offers various services, the capacity of the operations can be influenced by the mix of these offerings. Different products or services may require varying quantities of resources per unit. So, for example, consider restaurants that serve both burgers and pizza. The process of preparing a burger may require fewer resources compared to making a pizza. Also, if the demand for pizza suddenly increases and the restaurants needs to allocate more resources to pizza production, it may result in a decrease in burger productions. Shortage, a key to boosting capacity. This can affect the capacity of an operation if there is a resources constraint that is effective by timing in the process. Uh, but however, by implementing proper storage mechanisms such as holding work in progress or finished goods, we can enhance the operation capacity in the short term. How does this work? The ability to store products allows us to mitigate swings and fluctuations in demand instead of being overwhelmed during peak periods or slow down during low demand periods. So we can regulate the flow of goods. This ensures that the operations can operate at its full potential regardless of the changing demands. Scheduling maximize availability apart from shortage, storage, working schedule, and access to facilities also play a vital role in determining the availability of capacity. Uh, let's consider an example of uh, lecture theater with a capacity of 100 students. So now imagine if this facility were to operate beyond standard working hours, allowing for lecture as early and as 6 a.m. So while this extended schedule might increase the availability of the lecture theatre, it could pose challenges for both staff and students. So waking up early for a 6 p.m. lecture might not be ideal for everyone. Therefore, scheduling must strike a balance between maximizing capacity and considering the practically and preferences of those involved. In short term, a cafe can adopt strategies to immediately address increased demand. For instance, placing a few additional tables outside or extending the working hours of the staff can help accommodate the extra customers. These quick adjustments can provide some relief without requiring extensive planning or resources. Moving on to the medium term, the cafe owners will have more options available to future increase capacity. This could involve hiring more staff or introducing additional cooking facilities in the kitchen. This step would help the cafe handle greater influx of customers and serve them efficiently. A theory of constraint. This theory, proposed by Goldratt 1986 in 1986, is a practical approach to problem solving and improving organizational performance. Theory of constraint or TOC suggests that every system must have at least one constraint which limits its availability to generate output. Identifying and managing these constraints is crucial for achieving the organization's ultimate goal, which is profit. In many systems, there is an unequal flow of works within different work centers. The theory emphasizes that constraint or bottleneck should be the focal point for management rather than maximizing all resources within the process. We prioritize managing the bottleneck to optimize overall performance. Uh, Goldratt introduced the concept of drum buffer rope to guide our actions. The bottleneck or constraint is represented by the drum. It sets the pays for the entire process because its capacity is limited. Consequently, the bottleneck should always be working to the fullest extent possible. Uh, Goldratt's five focusing steps. There are five focusing steps which provide a process for freeing a system from bottleneck and improving its overall performance. These steps help us identify and address constraints that slow down the system. So, step one is identify the system's constraints, explore exploit the system constraints, subordinate everything else to the above decisions, evaluate the system constraints, identify the next constraint, and number five, it is previous step or constraint has been removed, go back to step one, but do not allow inertia to become the system constraints. Uh, Goldratt advised that any constraint having been identified is only transactional. As this constraint is exploited, another will appear in its place without identifying the role, the real constraints. Goldratt suggests that management may not be able to find the real cause that restrict capacity, as well take actions to work around the problem rather than solve the real cause. That's it, and then references, and this is it for today now, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Any question for us? Anything else?
No, thank you very much.
Hope you
I'll
have
be there
submitted
for
your
the.
first assignment.
Yeah, I've done it already, and I got
Oh,
the pass confirmation.
all right. Okay. If you have any question or anything else, please drop an email at yasir at ukversity.co.uk.
Sure, sure,
And
sure.
thank
Okay.
you very much for today and have a nice evening. And
Thank you. See you next week.
yeah,
Bye.
good evening. Bye. Bye.
Bye.